out of your busy schedule to come and join us in our good evening news here in the Kenya News Alert in Channel 7. I am yours, Emmanuel Bosire, and from the other side, I have our analyst today, Moody Makori. He's going to help us to dive into this great discussion we are having today about the Haiti situation and how, as a country, we are very dedicated going to send our 1,000 police officers to Haiti. Now, Moody, we know that in Kenya we speak English and Swahili as our official languages. And this country in Haiti, majority actually speak in French. How will the language barrier affect our police officers when they get to Haiti in that mission?
Yes, the language barrier might be a concern, but it is not an impediment. Yeah, so first of all, there is military language, and the Haiti people also have an English pidgin that they use to communicate with the Kenyan people. And above all, it will be training and intelligence and getting to learn about their culture, and so that they're able to help the issue of anarchy that is bedeviling them. So, in as much as it can be a barrier, it won't be an impediment to bringing peace to the Republic of Haiti.
Oh, you've talked about the military language, and you sent me offside that, as many have been saying, saying that the main challenge is going to be language barrier. But now that you've helped us to understand the military language and I went to train, that's going to bring us maybe understanding that it's possible to go to a mission without language barrier. Now, what's wrong with Haiti? What do you think is wrong with Haiti as a nation now that it got independence 1804? Kenya were getting independence just in the year 1963. What do you think is wrong in this country?
Yes. So Haiti, 200 years after its own independence, it has had, since 2004, it has had challenges, and it fell into the hands of groups. So in the year 2004, there came the issue that it got into a state of lawlessness, that is anarchy, and since then it has not had a stable government regime. Even the president was later killed, and therefore they have been quite unstable. So, and yeah, coupled up with other issues like the humanitarian crisis that have been there. So Haiti has been quite struggling, and yeah, but I think the rain began to beat them in 2004. But above all, it's not that they cannot be salvaged; they can be got back to track. But there have been trials before, and I think it can be given a multi-dimensional approach, like the Shaman Act that helped to bring peace in some other countries like Vietnam, and yeah, even when the US itself was fighting itself, the North and the South. So I think it's an issue of understanding what really bedeviled the surge of Haiti, what made the military generals to lose patriotism in their country, to be able to go and fight in the government, to control large chunks of the government properties, so that they can be able to develop a way forward, even if it means to call those generals together and even have them discuss the way forward, yeah, and and explain to them the issue of nationhood and statehood so that they can go to progress forward together as a nation. So it's not a big deal. So we, as a country, Kenya, we have to pray for the best. We don't have to be all pessimistic about it. We need to pray for the best. Yeah, in as much as it raises concerns, the questions are very legit about why we have to send our military men there, why we, even after the police not doing enough for us Kenyans, we can be able to spare some for Haiti. I think that is the spirit of brotherhood. So I think it's not so much.
Now, what we've seen that the United States is promising to give Kenyan 15 billion, a lot of money, and you know that as Kenyans we love getting funds, we want getting money. What could be some of the reasons as a nation we want to send 1,000 police officers to Haiti?
Yes, yes. So that is
Uh, we've just lost him a little bit, and perhaps he's going to rejoin and continue telling us and giving us more of how he understands some of the reasons we as a nation or we as a country want to send our 1,000 police officers to this country known as Haiti. One, like he has just told us that language barrier is not going to be a problem now that we have a military language. So those in military are able to understand what they are being commanded now that they are trained, and things doing with the intelligence, they are able to understand what it needs or what it calls for going into such missions. Our analyst Makori Moody has also told us that as a country, it cannot be possible now that Haiti, our ancestors, were being taken in that country as slaves many years ago when we had the triangular trade, whereby human beings, especially from the East African coast, were being traded as a commodity, saying that that cannot be a reason that a country we went to send our police officers there 200 years after their independence. We're dating the problems in Haiti starting the year 2004, and since then there's been lawlessness in the country, something that brought up to the assassination of their own president. So we're seeing the gangs who were originally the military officers taking part in the killings and even the state of unlawlessness in this beautiful country, Haiti, that has turned out to be a bad country where there is a lack of peace, where there is burnings of roads, people are being killed, there's high usage of drugs and substance, and even threatenings to other neighbors over the Caribbean and those that want to bring peace. Now, today, the President William Ruto had spoken about the Haiti situation, and we will listen him a little bit what he meant, and as he focuses more and more about the sending 1,000 police officers to the Caribbean nation Haiti.
On the 21st of September, I stood before the General Assembly of the United Nations to express the case for the United Nations Security Council to deliver a framework that would facilitate the deployment of a multinational security support mission to Haiti as part of a holistic multilateral response to the challenges faced by the nation. Specifically, I pleaded for a resolution under Chapter 7 of the Charter with the appropriate provisions to facilitate support for the Haiti National Police in enhancing its capacity to effectively provide security for the people of Haiti, their infrastructure, and property. I am delighted that today the Security Council has directly answered this call with UN Security Resolution 2699 of 2023, which mandates the multinational security support mission to reinforce the Haiti National Police with operational support and other joint interventions to enhance its institutional capacity with the aim of increasing its effectiveness in defeating the onslaught of criminal gangs, the rampant violent crime, human arms and drug trafficking, as well as other atrocities. The mission is also mandated to secure the country's critical infrastructure, including air and seaports, as well as other vital transit arteries and intersections. I welcome the resolution as an overdue and critical instrument to define the multinational mission. This mission is a fundamental intervention to provide the necessary conditions for Haiti to consolidate its development and governance. It is therefore absolutely essential that resources, as well as operational scope available to the UN team, as well as other humanitarian and development actors on the ground in Haiti, be appropriately reinforced. The situation in Haiti demands, as a matter of humanitarian consideration, moral responsibility, and fundamental justice, that actions be scaled up significantly to meet the demands of emergency relief, humanitarian aid, support for livelihoods, and major interventions in public health and environmental protection. As we look forward to the imminent COP28, I also call for the attention of states, international organizations, philanthropies, and other institutions to attend to the severe environmental degradation in Haiti, which calls out for the urgent mobilization of collective action. We express our determination that this mission will provide a different footprint in the history of international interventions in Haiti and emphasize that it is aimed solely at providing an appropriate environment for the leadership of both the political and civil society sectors to usher in stability, development, and democratic governance through a political framework owned and driven by the people of Haiti. The resolution marks an important moment in the history of global multilateralism as we engage in international collective action that places human security and dignity, political and civil society sectors to usher in stability, development, and democratic governance through a political framework owned and driven by the people of Haiti. The resolution marks an important moment in the history of global multilateralism as we engage in international collective action that places human security and dignity at the same level as state security and sovereignty and enables the nations of the world to discharge a collective moral duty of securing justice and security for all peoples of all nations. This is a mission for humanity, which connects boldly and directly with the founding principles of the United Nations and affirms our shared hope that justice is finally coming to the people of Haiti, who have borne the brunt of colonial plunder and repression, as well as post-colonial retaliation and exploitation, leaving them vulnerable to geological, climatic, and epidemic calamities. This moment also affirms the Pan-African commitment to our continent's unity, together with the African Union's policy of solidarity with the African diaspora in observance of our sacred duty towards our own flesh and blood, carried into captivity to suffer in chains in a world far away from home, and punished most severely over the centuries for claiming for themselves freedom, the most basic right of every human being. When newly independent states were investing in the future by building infrastructure, setting up systems of self-governance, and developing capacity to flourish in freedom, unfortunately, Haitians were being forced to invest in a cruel past by being made to pay for refusing to be slaves. As a result of this injustice, perpetrated by colonialists with the silent connivance of international institutions, Haiti lost decades of development opportunity and became vulnerable to calamities. It has endured devastating geological and extreme weather disasters which have left the state and its economy strained for the utmost and unable to cope with the challenges of providing basic services. For us in Kenya, this mission is of a special significance and critical urgency. We experienced the harrowing brunt of colonialism, as well as the long, difficult, and frustrating struggle for freedom against those that can influence international institutions to frustrate justice. In our struggle, we always had friends, not an overwhelming multitude of powerful allies, yet nevertheless, true, loyal, and determined friends. The people of Haiti, our dear friends, today stand in need. It is our fundamental moral obligation to be their friend indeed by standing with them. Our nation possesses excellent international peace mediating, peacemaking, peace building, and peacekeeping credentials. From East Timor and the former Yugoslavia to Eritrea and Angola, all the way to Sierra Leone, we have always stood ready and willing to do our part to bring peace, security, and stability. This is why we cannot turn away from Haiti. Doing nothing in the face of the human suffering is therefore absolutely out of question. Our firm position as African peoples has been for the international community to rally together in global collective action in pursuit of just and positive ends. For this reason, we must never forget that Haiti's troubles were inflicted through the improvident policies of colonial retaliation, which underpinned the continuity of atrocities spanning slave trade to colonialism, post-colonial crimes, and outright injustice. We therefore stand in solidarity with the Caribbean Community's Reparation Commission in their pursuit for accountability for the evil and cruel actions against African populations, including enslaved persons, together with their children. And we are confident that today we stand at the threshold of a sequence of reparative measures, including debt cancellation to free Haiti from shackles of an ugly past that bind them even today. If any peoples ever deserved a break, they must be the people of Haiti. We are delighted for the support this mission has attracted globally because it makes us stronger and success feasible. I commend the Security Council for making this moment possible and extend special appreciation to the United States and Ecuador for their consultative, inclusive, and focused endeavor, which has proved critical to this outcome. I also take this opportunity to extend a warm thank you to our African compatriots in the Security Council, Gabon, Ghana, and Mozambique for their stewardship of the process, and to all other members of the UN Security Council for their support, which yielded a resolution that is aligned with the principles and values of the AU's Constitutive Act. I also extend deep gratitude to the Caribbean Community's Eminent Persons Group of the Right.
Now that has been the President's powerful speech today, talking about the benefits and the advantages we as a country were going to harvest if we send our 1,000 police officers to Haiti and even perform or better. He has talked about how we as a country have managed to bring peace in other countries like Somalia. He's talked about how as a nation we are going to raise up our flag as a nation more and more into bringing peace in other countries that need our assistance as a nation. He has mentioned about the problems that they have and how we're going to get help and support from other countries. Now back to my analyst Moody. Thank you for joining us for all this time, bringing us this explanation. We were at the point whereby you were saying that language cannot be a barrier. Now that we have language military training, they have the intelligence, and they know how to do this. Now, my question is, this country has gangs who formerly were in the military. We've seen them assassinate their own president. Comparing with the Kenyan police, who we saw recently going against human rights by killing innocent demonstrators during the maandamano and demonstration in the country. Do you see that our police are able to bring a peace in Haiti without violating the human rights of the residents in the country?
Yes, thank you so much. The human rights question is always uh, it's a very controversial question, and when it comes in hand, first of all, the Kenyan military men are trained to bring peace by means that are not violent. Yeah, that is diplomacy, intelligence, and non-physical means. So they will try to engage the gangs in dialogue, first of all, arbitration, and even in discussions, so as to bring them to a common understanding. And if possible, to be able to need to train the other military men in Haiti, the Haitian military men, conscript and train them so that they can be able to bring the situation under control. So I don't really expect Kenyan policemen to need to go there and have physical altercations with the gangs, but rather it's a technical assistance. It is more of a personnel assistant to train, equip, and see the transition of the Haitian policemen bring peace to their country. But if need be, the Kenyan police are well capable of doing their work, even if it means having to go the violent way. But if it goes the violent way, it would be against the human rights. And being that Haiti is a sovereign state, and it has the right of self-determination. So the human rights question will slide in everywhere, even Kenya allowing its policemen to go there. So it will always come. So it shouldn't be a big issue, but we should tread carefully with the whole issue. That is it.
Talking about the 15 billion, is it the 15 billion that's making us to send our 1,000 police officers there?
Not really. I think it's good international relations with the US, and being that Kenya is a member of the United Nations Security Council.
So that could be the
Basis as
reason.
temporary members.
Okay.
Listen, and then so the 15 billion, it's more of a compensation, and of course it's good money. You can't refute that, and it means that the government will be able to receive arms to the Haiti Republic. So it's not bad money.
Okay, now we leave that case for Haiti for another time. Maybe we'll want to see and know what's going to unfold further and further. Now, coming back to this other part of the day, we're going to discuss a little bit on the impeachment process and impeachment process we've seen with two governors. First, we've seen the impeachment attempt that started with Kawira Mwangaza, that's the governor for Meru County. And recently we've seen an attempt to impeach Nyamira Governor Amos Nyaribo. Now these governors are finding it hard to stay in office and to work in peace and maybe deliver their manifestos and their agendas to their residents. Kawira Mwangaza to deliver in Meru County and Amos Nyaribo to deliver in Nyamira County. Now the two governors being accused by their MCS. One, by misconduct of the office, that's using the office wrongly. And two, by misusing the laws, or by going against the ruling laws that allow them to be in office, among others, including corruption that have been mentioned. We've seen attempts by Nyamira governor, that's Honorable Amos Nyaribo, trying to find rescue from the ODM party leader, that's Mheshimiwa Raila Amolo Odinga, and the deputy party leader, that's Honorable Simba Arati, his neighbor. We've seen him coming and calling them out for his rescue. And for today, 18 out of 34 MCAs now are supporting him, seemingly that he might survive. But with the case of Meru Governor Kawira Mwangaza, it might be somehow difficult because the first attempt to impeach her somehow did not happen. Again, it's hot for her to be impeached. Now, my analyst, Modi, what do you think about the impeachment program or process for the two governors? One for Kawira Mwangaza from Meru, and two, Governor Amos Nyaribo of Nyamira. What have they done? What else have they done? And what should be done for them to be impeached or for them to stay in power? If you don't mind, you can take us through.
Yes, thank you so much. So first of all, the issue of Meru County, it has happened over and over. There have been allegations of nepotism. Yeah, of course, the involvement of the governor's husband in the county official business. And of course, I can say that the people of Meru made a mistake electing Kawira Mwangaza, and they are really regretting that. But I hope she will survive the 5 years. It's a mistake that they have to live with.
When you're saying a mistake, what do you mean
This
by
second
that? What do you mean
coming.
the mistake? Now that they elected her, so they did a mistake of electing her, or she did a mistake of appointing her husband for the county position?
I mean the mistake of electing Kawira Mwangaza as the governor. Yeah, not that she does not deserve, but I believe that Meru County has better people, and who could have served the same position in a better manner. And it's not the best. So the people of Meru have to live with that mistake. Even if the MCS try to salvage them from the same, I think they will have to live with it. But if let's say the impeachment motion makes its way out of Meru County Assembly and goes to the Senate this time, I think she has gathered enough enemies. Even up to the Senate, she might be knocked out, and she might not survive if it gets to that position. I don't think she has the goodwill even of the president currently. Yes, and back to Nyamira, back home, the issue of Governor Amos Nyaribo being impeached, I think it's unfounded, and it's quite selfish of the MCS to do so, because I think he dismissed the CEC, who purportedly was so hardworking and is a sacred goat that needed not to be dismissed. So when he dismissed him, people are up in arms. They want to remove Governor Nyaribo, but I believe that that motion is founded on malice, innuendo, and it's quite baseless. So I don't think it will see the light of day. But so far so good. Governor Nyaribo has made good progress trying to sustain himself. I know he's a very headstrong guy, committed, and he will do his best to survive.
When you talk, maybe a little bit, Modi, before you continue, you've talked about a sacred goat. Who is she that she is being called a sacred goat?
No, the county executive officer,
Ah,
the CEC of Nyamira, who was being
removed.
who was removed. That is bringing all these issues, or rather that is having the issue of Nyaribo being isolated to resign. I think I saw someone say that he was the most hardworking CEC, and I said, does that necessarily mean that he should not be dismissed from that position? Yeah. So if he did a mistake, I think can be dismissed. If he's at loggerheads with the governor, I think the issue can be sorted out through other means. And if dismissal is one of them, I think it can work. So they shouldn't bring a fuss out of it. And the people of Nyamira, I believe that they make the right decisions. That's the MCS, and them ganging behind Governor Nyaribo. It's a very wise move, and Nyaribo is trying to seek the goodwill of the ODM party. That is under the Azimio coalition, which he was part of. So I think that is a very good strategy. And so far, he has not said anything. He has not brought any big drama out of it. I believe he will survive. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. I need not to comment about it. He has very high chances of surviving. The impeachment motion will not make it past the Nyamira County Assembly Hall.
Now, Mr. Moody, it has been alleged, and the gossip is that Nakuru West MP Samuel Arama is the one funding the MCS to impeach Nyaribo to prepare him room. His governor bid in 2027. Can that be true?
Yes. Of course, there are true facts there. There has been confirmed the interest of MP Arama vying for Nyamira County gubernatorial seat in 2027. That's a fact. Of him sponsoring the impeachment motion. Of course, it might be an allegation that can hold water, being that the first rival that Arama will face will be Nyaribo. So it might be a very true allegation, and I know if he's able to declare his bid, I think he can go to sponsor that impeachment motion, and it's not a big deal.
And almost Sacha Nyambati is also preparing in 2027.
Oh yes, of course. The good thing about Nyamira, they will always buy, and the person with the least qualification will win, and life will go on.
So the person with the least qualification will win.
Yeah, of course. Like if you see, like Nyamira has very brilliant people, but now their greediness in the vying is what brings them down. Yeah, like if you have 5 aspirants who are getting each 20% of the votes, and one aspirant gets 22% of the votes, it means that automatically that person is the governor. Whereas if we had a strong candidate out of the 5, and another strong candidate whereby we can have a person who gets about 50% of the votes, and the other gets around 30%, and then from there we can have the best. So I think the divide and ruling approach, I think it has so far worked, and it is working against the people of Nyamira, and they are regretting.
Now, thank you, Modi, for that brief description of the cases and the scenarios in Meru County for Kawira Mwangaza. He has highlighted that the Meru people made a mistake for voting as the governor, and they must leave that mistake up to 2027, pointing out to cases of nepotism, especially when she decided to employ her husband into the county office, is the main reason that she is finding it hot in Meru County. Talking about Nyamira County, our analyst today, Modi Nyairati Matoke, has given us a clear definition about the problems in Nyamira, pointing out to the sending away of the county executive officer, who was a sacred goat, according to him, something that's making it difficult for Nyamira Governor Amos Nyaribo to find it easy and peace to deliver his manifestos to the people of Nyamira. He has also pointed out to maybe an influence by an MP from Nakuru, that Samuel Arama. Maybe he could be the one funding the LCAs behind to impeach or to dirtify Nyaribo's profile before they come to face each other in 2027 for the gubernatorial elections for Nyamira County. I want to have a listen to the analysts. And before that, Modi, what's the outcome of impeachment of a governor? Once you are impeached, are you able again to go and contest again?
Constitutionally, you cannot contest again. That is first of all after failing to meet the criteria of Chapter 6 of the Constitution, and so after you have been impeached, there is a very meticulous way. You are impeached first of all at the county assembly, after collection of signatures from the people, and then the county assembly. After county assembly, it is going to be verified again at the Senate, where there is also a vote that will take place, and at the Senate it can still be dismissed. But in all, the same also can happen, whereby we have a case scenario, the governor goes to court. I remember the former governor of Embu, Martin Wambora, served 2 terms despite being impeached several times, and he went to court. He claimed administrative justice, and the guy served his term full and without any much disturbance. So I think if other means are used, I think Nyaribo will survive, Mwangaza will survive, any other governor that is being impeached will survive. But if you are impeached successfully, like Governor Sonko, your deputy governor will take over and will serve the remaining term, will nominate a deputy governor, to serve the remaining part of the term, but you can't vie again. So this is an issue that will need to be looked at in a constitutional review manner, so that we don't have whereby the deputy governors might be fighting the governors from behind their backs, or other external forces trying to fight their interests in where they never sowed. So it's an issue that needs to be looked at technically, so that the governors have the stability and the peace to work and deliver for their people without much distractions, but in accordance with the Constitution. And I think we should also be very critical when electing our leaders as citizens.
Thank you for that good remarks, and thank you for your time, for having time to join us in this Kenya National News Alert TV discussion. Every day, every evening, we are going live, and we'll be wanting to invite you more and more of these wonderful sessions, so that you can give us your insights about the current topics. I see you again, Modi Matoke. Goodbye.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I look forward to being at the studio very soon, so that we can be able to get abreast to the issues that are affecting the countries. So try to get in with my schedule so that I can be able to make it there.
Yeah, we are arranging that one, so we'll speak later when we finish this.
Okay, thank you. Have a good evening.
Now that one has been Wakili Modi, who has been our guest today, bringing more insight about what it's going to be done. Now we want to have a listen to the former governor, Ferdinand Waititu, on his remarks over his impeachment and to other impeachment of any governor in our country.
And proceed.
Proceed, the
Okay,
Governor
thanks a lot.
Waititu.
I know all of you know me. I'm Waititu. And having been around for a long time, from a councillor to governor, there are some issues that I have observed that I wanted to make some recommendations. One of them is on education. On education in particular, I wanted to recommend on the issue of distribution of bursaries, which have been involved for a long time. I wanted to suggest and recommend that they be removed from the CDF of the Member of Parliament, because the manner in which bursaries are distributed is selective. The people who support the MP tend to benefit more than the people who do not support the Member of Parliament. If you look at the students, all the students nationally attend the same exam. They need to be given equal footing as far as preparations on exams is concerned. But if one student gets 1,000 shillings because of how the father voted, and another one gets 10,000 because of how the parent voted, that is unfair for that student who did not vote and is getting less money. If we want to equalize, the national government must take over the distribution of bursaries such that a student